Good morning. Good morning. Good day. Would you like a button? Hello, and I welcome you to the greatest little town on the Kansas frontier, Oskaloosa. I'm Mary Lowman, the current mayor of Oskaloosa, and I am hoping to make a repeat performance in this same position next year. The reason for this meeting today is because ever since my election and those of my fellow council ladies in 1888, the municipal government of Oskaloosa has become one of the most talked about in the country. Newspapers all over the U.S. and even as far away as New Zealand have written about the Petticoat government of our small town. While myself and the councilwomen have had numerous offers in the past to be interviewed, we have previously declined. But now, on the eve of our second election, we feel it necessary to straighten out and dispel some of the rumors and misconceptions that you, of the press, have seen fit to print about us. I brought in some newspaper articles with me today, and although I don't know all of the newspapers represented, I certainly hope the reporter from the Lincoln Journal made it. He may not have, as I note from this article he wrote about us. The lady council members of Oskaloosa have notified the Topeka and Southwestern Railroad that all its trains must reduce speed within the Oskaloosa city limits and restrain passengers from expectating out the windows. Now, we of the council sent this reporter one of the free and illegal passes the Topeka Railroad tried to give us. But I doubt if it did him much good in getting here today, as he must realize by now, Oskaloosa, being 10 miles away from any railroad track, isn't in spitting distance. Another newspaper I have here is the Kansas City Times. Now, I know I saw their reporter. Ah, yes, you in the back there. I hope you noted our town has a new flagpole and flag, which is neither sheared, cut on the bias, or trimmed with lace, as your article indicated. Oh, and don't worry, those were just political buttons I was passing out, not my angel food cake recipe, no matter how good it might be. Oh, and you might want to watch your ankles, since you did suggest in this story that if someone really wanted to clean out the Petticoat government at Oskaloosa, they could just let loose a few live mice at the next city council meeting. Now, come on. We ladies grew up in sod houses where mice were your best company, and they kept the snakes entertained. But as for you city boys, you'd better keep your feet up, at least while you're in Kansas, that is. Now, before this meeting, a few of your reporters came up to me and asked me if we weren't finished here by 8 p.m. and if you were out walking on the streets, if you'd be arrested. At first, I didn't quite understand what you're talking about. But then I realized you must be talking about the article the Lincoln Journal wrote about us. Our new town ordinance actually reads, young men under the age of 18 will have a curfew. Not, as the Journal reported, all men in the town of Oskaloosa will be kept locked in after dark, since they got a woman city council. In fact, if I may, I would like to read some of this paper's more poetic efforts about us. Every woman likes to know she inspires poetry, even if she is on a city council. It is entitled Oskaloosa. Have you heard the feminine ruse, a new plan to keep evils at bay? In the Kansas town called Oskaloosa, where women have absolute sway. No man has a chance to get high there, or smile with a friend in a glass. In no brawling row will you die there, for nothing like that comes to pass. Of course, while the women are ruling, the men rock the cradle and sew. The cooking they daily attend to, scrub, have everything shine. Make beds, sweep and house clean, but the women won't let them drink whiskey or wine. Poor men. Well, ladies, maybe we should give them the case of beer that the Wichita Eagle newspaper sent us. All joking aside, I'm hoping today you're all here for the real facts. And first, you'll probably want to know how we got elected. 3 days before the last city election, several of the businessmen in Oskaloosa decided that they were tired of voting in the same male council every term and having them do nothing while our town continued to decline. These concerned men approached myself and several other ladies of the community to run for office on the following Monday. That didn't leave us much time to campaign. On election day, another group of men against us ran an opposition slate consisting of their wives or daughters who had promised, if elected, to resign their seats in favor of their fathers or husbands. Now, what these men were trying to do was split the women's vote in Oskaloosa, but neither the men or the women of Oskaloosa were fooled by this trick, and our slate was elected by a 50 to 100 vote margin. We were touted all over the U.S. as the second lady mayor and her all-female council. But what wasn't told in the newspapers is what we inherited. There was exactly 85 cents in the Oskaloosa Treasury. Our city had no street lights, mud loblollies which only because they were marked with street signs could be recognized as streets. And the stray animals were so bad that stores couldn't leave their doors open in the summer for fear of finding a cow at their counter. And the sheriff not only refused to enforce the blue laws, but actually sold bootleg whiskey out of the jail on Sunday. One of my first tasks as mayor was to fire this unsuitable individual. He refused to leave the jail. Now, we ladies did not, as the Chicago News suggested, rush the jail with rug beaters and threaten him with bodily harm. We did, however, threaten him with eviction by a real marshal if he didn't vacate. Now, several newspapers predicted the crime rate would soar after he was gone, and so far, we've only had to arrest one person this whole year. And that's how we became involved in one of our 2 lawsuits. Since there were no sidewalks in Oskaloosa, we assessed each business owner to build a sidewalk in front of their establishment. And one of our more frugal businessmen, who owned an entire block of buildings, tried to get around the sidewalk ordinance by selling 10-inch strips to various members of his family. Well, we collected from them anyway, but he refused to pay for his strips, so we arrested him. But then he sued us. We won in the district court, but it cost us one of our fellow council members, as he was Councilwoman Carrie Johnson's father. She resigned from the council instead of being accused of favoritism in his behalf. Now, before we close this meeting, even though I may have given several of you a headache, I wouldn't advise stopping by the local drugstore, as you have in the past, for one of their special headache remedies. As I'm sure you'll find out, they're no longer in the habit of passing out 100 proof medicine in a dry town. Perhaps this little poem that we of the council have composed will help clear your head and send you on your way with a better understanding of the achievements of the Petticoat government. Come to Oskaloosa, where they now have new streets and new lights, since the women on the city council have finally set things right. No stray animals will you have to dodge, nor pranksters to bother you at night where you lodge. Our business is thriving, and our town has no more ills, and the women only had to raise the taxes to 7 mills. So on April 1st, don't you be a fool. Vote these women back in and let them continue to rule. Thank you.